Loud.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, welcome everyone to this very exciting program, the New Money Media Mentoring Program. This is part of a 90-day mentoring program where we're here to help you prepare to be interviewed for our radio show, New Money Media, or New Money Radio. And it's going to be featured on over 170 stations around the world, including the biggest ones, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. And the whole idea is to position you as the go-to authority in your industry and labeling you as an expert in whatever you do in your profession now in this day and age in the new economy. All right. So the new economy, a lot of people don't really know about that. So let me just give you an overview. The new economy is the fact that there is no longer are the days of going to school, getting an education, going to getting a manufacturing job or whatever else, like the old school ways, and building your business the old school ways. They just don't work now in this day and age with the invention of the internet and all these new technologies that came from it. And every day, like always, constantly being evolved. You as an entrepreneur, you need to adapt to the changes and you need to find your way to succeed in the new economy. So that is what we are doing. That is why we are having this radio show. We are here to help people, the listeners, learn what is working for people. How are people succeeding in the new economy? How is the new economy affecting their life and their business? And and then we're talking about you. You are the entrepreneur that we're going to put on the spotlight in front of millions of people, millions of listeners, right? Now, getting on the radio is a good thing. It's great. You get publicity. You might get a lot, like millions of listeners, right? But the real gold here, you're going to be featured on the biggest networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, on the New Economy, New Money Radio show. And just that alone, the fact that you've been featured on those stations and that network, you can use that as bragging rights for your name to be featured as an authority in whatever you do, right? So it gets you more gigs, gets you more speaking opportunities, coaching opportunities, gets you paid more for what you do, all right? Gets you on more radio shows and more stations out there. It's just the fast track to becoming the leader in your industry, okay? So that's what this is, and it's a 90-day program, but today all of you are here as our special guests. And some people have already invested in this program, are actually paid members. And I want to congratulate all of you who are part of that. You're guaranteed a spot on the show if you have paid for this program. But if you are a guest, you can still participate, get the same level of coaching as everyone else. And with that, we're going to help you with your interviewing. We're going to help you clarify your message and articulate it in a way that's profound and impactful and memorable for people who are listening. And we're going to really just help you, position yourself as the leader in the new economy. All right. If you, we may or may not use your interview on the air. Okay. It's going to be edited and published to go on our show. If you are a member, again, a paid member, you're guaranteed a spot on the air. If you are a guest, you get the coaching. And there is a possibility you might be able to be featured. We just can't guarantee it, all right? So what I'm going to do real quick, just so you guys, before we get started, I want to make sure everyone knows who we are and what we do and why you should even be working with us, okay? So first off, I'm going to share with you some of the stations. As I said, there's over 170 stations around the world where you will be featured. I'm going to just paste it in here so you can see. And I'm sure it's going to go off of the page. But here are some. I don't know if you want to go ahead and research any of these. I'm just showing this so you get an idea. This is not, these are not podcasts. These are not, radio shows. These are actual AM, FM radio shows that are, it's a mainstream media, okay? And I'm just going to overlap them. I mean, there's so many out here. I'm going to clear this real quick and just show some more, and the list just goes on and on and on. Okay. So if you want to get a full list, you can just go to Sports Byline. Let me just write that in. Sportsbyline.com. That is the affiliate. That's the network. The
syndicator.
Yeah, the syndicator that we are affiliated with, that Mike has helped launch 30 years ago, I believe, several years ago. And this is the relationship we have with these media connections. Now, with that, let me introduce the actual your trainers here, your leaders here. So let's see. This is, I'm gonna show you, or just kind of paste this in here so y'all can see. All right, Mike Hayes kind of goes off, but whatever. I'm gonna read it for you. So Mike Hayes, he is your lead trainer, and he's the radio show host and editor and producer. So Mike Hayes has over 30 years experience in the media industry. He has 10 years as a documentary director and producer with NBC and CNN TV News, for 20 years in the infomercial industry. All right, he's been known as the network king because of the strong relationships and collaborations he has built with 200 plus of the biggest influencers in mainstream media. And names like Oprah, Donald Trump before he became president, Tony Robbins, Steve Wozniak, and and many, many more. And he's even produced one of Tony Robbins' first commercials, which has, led Tony Robbins to be a huge success. Now, as well as that, he's also sold $15 million of his own coaching program using mainstream media. And he's helped over 1,000 inventors and entrepreneurs produce hundreds of millions of dollars for their products and services, and sales just from infomercial TV. All right. And now he's the president of the New Economy Chamber of Commerce, and he's a co-host of the New Money radio show, and also the guy who's going to get your business and you mentioned in the big leagues. Okay. So Mike is the player who has all the connections in the media. And let me just introduce myself, so those of you who don't know. All right. Jeez, I need to do something here. I need to just clear this. All right, so I am Omar Briones. I'm the CEO of Infopreneur Agency. And for the last 10 years, I've helped over 1,000 entrepreneurs perfect their message and their branding and their marketing, helping them with their webinars, their presentations, just dominate their industry with presenting their message online. And I've worked side by side with some of the greatest mentors and successful entrepreneurs in the world, and studying and mastering the art of captivating an audience and selling via webinars and interviews. Now I'm literally reading this word for word, so I hope you guys don't mind. Now I provide exclusive opportunities to work with my world-class mentors and give infopreneurs like you the fast track to becoming an industry leader, so that you can get fully booked and paid more for what you do. All right. Together, we're going to rock your world. All right. So, I appreciate you guys bearing with me to just introduce ourselves. I really want to get that out there because it's really important that you know who you're working with, right? So with that said, now let's get into some fun stuff. All right. How this is going to work is first, I'm going to actually paste this in here so you guys see. All right, first, we're going to start off with a mini lesson, or we're going to review a previous lesson, okay, on the next call. And then we're going to get into practicing an exercise, right? That's where your pen and paper will come in. Then we will start the interviews, all right? We're going to start practicing our interviews. And then finally, we'll move into the final steps and see who's ready to get interviewed, all right? Now, as far as the lesson, I want to just start off with the biggest lesson here. I'll just paste it in real quick. Oh, hold on a sec. Sorry. Dog barking. All right. So are you guys excited to be here? Let me get some feedback. I want to see. Yes, this is good. You guys are excited? All right, cool. All righty. is the first lesson. Now, this is a question I have for you. What is the new economy to you? I want to hear from you guys after what I just said. And like, what is the new economy to you? And a little more important follow-up question. How has the new economy affected your industry and the way you do business? Okay. Now, before you answer it out loud, just take out your pen and paper. I want you to actually write this down, because if you're actually serious about getting on a radio show, and, you know, actually not just on a radio show, but really being an authority in your industry, you really want to talk about the new economy, right? Because that positions you as knowing what's going on in the world, all right, and how your industry is going. That's what positions you as the expert. So write these questions down, and I want you to actually answer them with in your own words. All right, what is the new economy to you in your opinion, and how has it affected your industry and the way you do business? So I'm just gonna give you a minute to write that down, or you know, write down your answer. And let's see. And by the way, if you see that I mute you, it's because I hear there's some background noise going on, okay? So go ahead and do that. Okay. And I just promoted some people to panelists so that you can unmute yourself if you wanted to speak up. All right, so everyone got something down? Doesn't have to be super elaborate, but you guys have something there? Just raise your hand if you do. Okay, Dana is still working on it. All right. And thanks, Adam, for raising your hand there. All right, cool. And Carl, are you good? Do you have something there? You're good? Okay. So moving on now. I'm gonna call on to you. I'm gonna hear what you have to say. All right. Let's get some brave people to unmute themselves. Who wants to volunteer and say what is the new economy to you and how it's affected your business? Carl, go ahead.
So to me, the new economy is a major mega trend where we've seen unfolding since the 1980s, where people who rely on the return on capital have been doing pretty well, but people who rely on the return on labor have seen reason to be less optimistic. So that's really sprung interest in entrepreneurship and, you know, developing the type of audience that you're talking about, people trying to figure out how to cope with this new environment. So how has it affected the way I'm doing business? It's opened up a potential for a book that I've been working on for a few years that I expect to have out after Labor Day. And it's an idea for a performance-based capital structure for companies when they raise venture capital in an initial public offering. I call it the fair share model because it balances and aligns the interest of investors and employees, or capital and labor.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Carl. So in other words, what I'm hearing is that you believe like the new economy has been kind of motivating people to find out a way for them to make money on their own and be their own boss, right? Is that what you're saying? That's
been part of it, but I think the primal thing has been that it's increased anxiety about the future. And so one response is to go out and figure out what you're going to do. But it's affecting how people think at multiple levels, and politically, how they think about their own future. You know, it used to be, for example, if you were coming out of school or a young person, you'd say, all right, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to get a degree, I'm going to go work for the big company and the like. So now you see more and more young people thinking about, I go to school, or I'll get a degree in entrepreneurship, and I'll forego working for the big company. So that's really a sea change in thinking. And it's not that the people nowadays are different from when they were 30, 50 years ago, but the environment's changed. And so it's a response that people have to it. So entrepreneurship is a very difficult path to take. One of the things that is a big challenge for them is capital formation. And people who are investors are also challenged by this environment, and they're in some ways attracted to the entrepreneurial economy too, because they see it as a way to possibly make money faster or to support something that they agree in, want to support. So it's sort of like, it's a beehive or the ant farm, and everything's been shaken up, and people are expressing their anxiety in different ways.
Right on. Awesome. Thank you. That's a great answer. Thank you so much, Carl. Just for the record, so I know, what is your business? What do you do exactly? What is your title?
Who is that for?
For you, Carl. I'm just curious. What is your business?
So I'm a blogger and a forthcoming author. I've done CFO work for startups and turnarounds for about 30 years.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And what is your book about?
It's about an idea for a capital structure for performance-based capital structure for companies to use when they raise venture capital in an initial public offering.
Got it.
So it deals with the valuation question. What's the value of an idea? And that's really, even though it's in the context of a public offering, it's a question that any entrepreneur struggles with who needs capital. Let's say it's a private business and they're looking for capital. It's not a loan, it's equity. The fundamental question is, what's the value of an idea of undelivered performance?
Got it.
A tough one.
All right, great. That's awesome. I'm going to check in with everyone else here. Thanks again, Carl. I'm going to check with everyone. Do you hear and realize, do you see the connection of what Carl's mentioned, talking about the new economy and what he does for a living as a former CFO and now helping people raise capital for their business? And do you see how that all connects together with the new economy? I just want to see if you guys can see that. Just raise your hand or nod your head. Say yes if you do see that. Okay, cool. Does anyone not see that? Just raise your hand if you do not see that, please. Okay, cool. Good. Great job. Thanks again, Carl. We have time for one more. I want to ask one more person to share what to you and how is it affecting your industry and the way you do business. So feel free to just volunteer, raise your hand, or unmute yourself and just speak up, whatever you prefer. Whoever's quicker. Does anyone want to volunteer?
Can you not see me raising my hand, or?
Oh, I was looking for you. Yeah, I see you now. So Dana, you want to go?
Sure, I'll go.
Okay. Thanks.
I'm going after Carl because I agree wholeheartedly with what he's saying as far as on the capital side of things, and my impression as far as the new economy, and I'm not talking just the financial or the money side, but just the economy in general as far as business is concerned, and the pace that it's going at. More and more of your smaller businesses are overtaking a good part of the market because they're strategically partnering to bring that value that these larger organizations that have controlled the market have always had. Okay. The other thing I see is that as far as the new economy is the rapid increase or advancement of the cryptocurrency market and ICOs. And if we're not going to learn about that and really get on top of it and see how we can use it, we may lose out as far as businesses are concerned. I just came from a meeting as far as that's concerned with one of my clients that I sit on the advisory board for. And they are getting ready Tuesday to go public with their ICO as far as that's concerned. So the way that it's helped, that it's affected me in my business, because I work as a strategist, I'm always having to think ahead as far as how I can position my clients to be able to answer the urgency of the way the market's changing. You know, as new because I work with new entrepreneurs. As new entrepreneurs, they tend to kind of hold back and want to take their time. But unfortunately, if they're going to this market, they can't do that. They have to be able to. They have to be willing to jump in, and I have to show them how they can do that through strategic partnering, through joint ventures, through tapping into those who bring value to what they're offering and can keep them moving forward at a rapid pace.
All right. And you want to just share with us what you do for a living, just in a summary, so we all understand the whole picture?
Yes, I'm a business growth strategist. I work primarily with early stage solo micro companies, usually under 10 employees, because there's not a lot of help out there for them. And what I do is I help them develop that roadmap for them to get from point A to point B. So I'm a strategist, a high-level strategist, and by doing that, we keep them in line and moving forward.
Gotcha. All right. Awesome. Thank you. So does everyone follow that? And please be honest. And part of this is all of us being coachable, right? I just want to, we're here to help everyone. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Now, I just want to hear from you guys. Do you guys follow what Dana said? And do you understand like what she was mentioning? And just raise your hand if you do. Just go ahead and raise your hand. All right. Again, now be honest. And Dana, I appreciate if you just let us, coach you on this.
Yeah.
Anyone that was not clear or did not understand, was not able to grasp per se what she does and how the new economy has changed the way she does business. Does anyone just raise your hand if that's you? Okay. So again.
Well, I just want to add something if I could.
Yeah. Who is this?
So,
go ahead.
I wrote actually a chapter about initial coin offerings and blockchain, but I see them not necessarily as a great way potentially for companies to raise money, but I don't know that they're a particularly good idea for investors. But it's all part of that agitation that people are feeling. It's a new thing, and it's almost a fight or flight type response that we're seeing, where people are, they missed something before, so they think they're going to have to move quickly to get onto the next thing, and it could be too early. In terms of if you're an investor, you might lose money because it's so unsettled as to what the success factors are going to be, and it can also be a challenge for companies that want to raise money this way, because from a regulatory perspective, there's so many speed bumps that you could exhaust yourself with time and money using to try to figure out how to comply with things that regulators are trying to figure out how to make it fit into that environment. So it's all part of this great anxiety.
And I fully agree with you, Carl. I'm not saying that you just jump on the bandwagon, because that's what's causing the volatility within this market is people jumping onto the bandwagon and they really don't know what they're talking about or what they're doing. But by partnering with those agencies that are experts in this, and there are a lot of cryptocurrency companies out there that are just vaporware. All they're doing is they are just talking, but they're not really producing. So it's important for companies to do their due diligence before they jump on that bandwagon.
All right. Awesome. Now, before we get into more dialogue here, I want to pause this and thank everyone. Thank you all again for participating, and thank you for sharing that. So again, now the part of this, the big part of this whole mentoring program is to help you be able to articulate your message in a way that is concise and clear and easy to follow for the listener. And not only that, also position you as the authority in your industry, okay? So what we want to do is, with your answers here, what is the new economy, how is it affecting your business and your industry and how you're doing business, you want to also include some things that position you as a leader, okay? So there's one more question here I'm going to just post in here that is kind of a pop quiz, because I kind of mentioned this, but I want to hear from you. I want to see if anyone has an answer here. So I want to ask you, how does talking about the new economy leader in your industry? Anyone know? And just go ahead and unmute yourself. Go ahead and shout it out. How does talking about the new economy position? Does anyone figure that out?
This is Becky. It positions you as a thought leader.
Say that again.
It positions you as a thought leader.
Right on. And
up with the trends, and knows what's happening, and somebody to look, watch, and listen to.
Awesome. Exactly. That's right. So everyone get that? Did you guys hear that? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And just to, reiterate, it's because you're talking about the new economy and how it's affecting your industry. Just the fact that you know about it and you're sharing all of the things that it's doing to your industry, that positions you as an expert in the listener's, eyes or ears, so that they know, this person knows about what's going on in the trends, and how the new economy is affecting their industry and how they are growing their business in the new economy. That automatically gets people to want to hear from you. They want to learn from you. They want to, buy your book or take you up on your webinar invitation or whatever else you invite them to do, okay? So that is the key here, and that's what the whole point of this membership or this mentoring program is, and this New Money Radio show. That's what we're going to do, is make sure that we get the best out of you, and also have you talking about the new economy in the context of being an expert in your profession, okay, in your industry. All right, let's see here. So with that said, I want to now share, by the way, we're going to get into an exercise in a moment. Okay. Here's what we're going to do now. I'm going to have you guys answer another question, but you're going to write this down. So let's see. Okay, so here's another question for you, and this one you're going to write down, you're going to answer it, okay? So this is one of the things we need to know when we're interviewing you, so that we know, did I just say so many times? I don't know. Anyway, so that we can position you as an authority. So just how have you adapted to the new economy and growing your business? I want to ask you that and have you write it down so you can actually have something ready to go when we interview you, okay? And this is what we're going to practice on right now, okay, today. So write it down. How have you adapted to the new economy and growing your business? Now, while you're doing that, I'm going to give you an example, okay? This is in my own experience, my own business, all right? Here's what I would say is, all right, so for the last 10 years, I've been marketing online. I've been helping entrepreneurs grow their business and create their marketing funnels online. I've helped over 1,000 clients, been really successful with that. But now, because of the new economy and all the new programs being out there, all the new software and things out there that people can join, it's gotten really, really tough to compete with everyone else doing the same thing I'm doing. And it's been really confusing and overwhelming for my clients to find the right resources and the right tools and guidance to grow their business. So because of that, I have decided to create this company called Infopreneur Agency and have a membership where people can go ahead and just use my very best of the best resources and world-class mentors, get the same guidance from them to help them just go straight from A to Z without having to run into all these different confusing options out there. So I give them the direct access to my mentors and give them exclusive opportunities to work with them and help them grow their business that way. All right. So that is an example. That's it, cut. And did you guys hear that? Did you guys understand that? I'm going to just check with you. I know you guys were probably writing something, but for those of you who are listening to the example, did you hear all the components of of mentioning my story, mentioning what I used to do or what I have done, what makes me credible, and also have mentioned the new economy, how it's changed things, and how I'm adapting to it? Did you guys catch all that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of what you're going to do. And again, this is very general. We're not giving you the blueprint yet. We will, okay? There is a blueprint to this. But I want to just have you write down what comes to your mind in your opinion. How have you adapted to the new economy and you're growing your business? So we're going to spend about 15 minutes doing this, working on this. So just keep writing whatever comes to mind. And whenever you're done, why don't you just raise your hand, okay? So I know. Okay, Becky's done. Good.
I'm raising my hand. Yeah. It's changed how I do business because I can do business with anybody. I'm not stuck in one local area. But it's changed how the new economy has changed how I interact with people. My preferred style is to be face-to-face. And but it allowed me to have that face-to-face. I do a lot of reading people and how they interact with me and get a lot of information from that. And I do trainings around that, but it's allowed me to see and interact to them as if they're in the same room with me, pretty much. And it makes all the difference in business when you can do that and make that personal connection. So that's how it's changed my my world.
Awesome. Great job. And Becky, for the record, what is it that you do?
We're trying to figure that out for sure. I'm a business consultant. I work with businesses around the people aspect of business. And whether it's internal for the CEO or the higher ups, doing the inner development work so they can get the most out of their people and work well with people and collaborate with people, or I teach them about conflict resolution. It's a total people area package where I work with it in the business area.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So I assume from what you said, what you have done before was go to the businesses or talk to them on the phone maybe, or see them and, have to drive over to see them in person. And what you're doing now is using Zoom or something like that, right?
Yeah, I have been in, up until recently, I have been in human resources, high-level human resources. And anytime I had to investigate something, I had to fly into the facility and sit down with them one-on-one and talk to them. I've actually done investigations over Zoom where I could record them if I wanted to, but I was able to get the relevant facts I needed and get that face-to-face trust component that I needed. Mm-hmm. So cool. Bringing that to the business world, most people are shy of that, but it's an excellent tool.
Yep, it is. It's great. And that's a great example, you guys. So I'm going to write this down. So what she did is adapt with Zoom. Okay. There's a bunch of other tools out there similar. We like Zoom. We love Zoom actually. So Zoom is an example emerged because of the new economy, and it's changed the environment. It's changed what is available and how people are communicating. with Zoom, just like the name says, you don't need to, spend hours in traffic driving to your destination to meet someone in person. You can just, with a click of a button, you can right away and Zoom onto a meeting and meet someone face to face around the world, right? We're all over the world right here. I think anyway, sometimes we have people from like all over the world, like Europe, Asia, and Australia, all over. So Zoom is a huge part of the new economy, and that's a great example. So thanks for sharing, Becky. Dana, I see you're unmuted. Did you want to go? Okay. So
yeah, I don't know if this is really along the same lines. Yes, the tools and everything. I'm a strategist as well, a business consulting growth strategist. So a lot of these tools I have to use. But what I have found is the new economy has introduced so many more competitors out there. They're just cropping up like crazy because it's so easy to start a business out there. So finding that value is becoming more and more difficult as far as I'm concerned. What I've done and had to do in order to differentiate myself from my competitors is I approach my strategic consulting, my growth consulting from the mindset of a marketer and sales as opposed from a business strategist. And it's all what I've had to do is my strategic planning is centered around that customer journey. In a business, you're in business to, make revenue. And in order to make revenue, you need those customers. And for those customers, you need to be able to convert them to advocates on the back end and make them your sales team. So that's the approach that I've been taking in my growth strategy, but it involves the entire business. It's just a different avenue to get there. Because in order to create that customer experience, you have to have that structure in place, which I believe is what you do too, Becky, right? Yeah. So, it's just a different approach. It's not so much, and all of my meetings are done through Zoom. It's still face-to-face, but it allows me to work all over the United States doing that.
So I'll add, the way I've adapted to it is, first off, to recognize that an idea that I had about 20 years ago and spent a few years on was too early then, but now it's viable. So a large part of success in something tends to be in timing. You could have the right idea at the wrong time. So it was Dr. John song at one point talking about timing and events. So part of that is you want good ideas, but they have to be matched up to the right time. And then there's all these tools. As I was thinking about the answer to this, 20 years ago, social media wasn't anything along the lines that it is now. The way it's so easy to reach people, but there's this demanding curve you have about, first you've got the attitude saying that, I can do that, or I need to do that, and maybe I don't need to hire someone to do that, but heck, I have to learn how to do it and which tools to use. And so it's a lot more demanding in terms of the things you can do, the tools you can use to do it, and what you need to demand of you. You always have to be learning. And it's learning at a pace that is different than it was decades ago. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you happen to surf that wave appropriately, it really opens up possibilities. I'm just thinking, the social media, marketing of something. In my particular area, books, it's so much easier for someone who isn't coming through the trade press, as they call it, or doing self-publishing to get a book published and marketed. But at the same time, Omar, you and Dana both mentioned how it's difficult to sustain a competitive advantage because somebody else can come in. And yeah, that's sort of the time that we're living in. It's not sustainable. It's hard to identify and maintain an advantage unless you're perhaps you've got something local or some particular hold. But that's the great anxiety as well.
Right. And you were talking about education, Carl. More and more people are wanting to move to the e-learning environments as opposed to your traditional education, the conferences, all of that are getting to the point where people just don't want to sit through these things. They want to learn on their own, but they still want that one-on-one, that one-on-one hand-holding. They still want that, but they want it in their own time frame.
Yep. Okay, good. I'm loving the answers here. Thank you so much, you guys. We are getting kind of close to the end of this exercise here. I just want to write something here that I heard that was really, really gold. Time. And this is pretty much the centerpiece of this whole thing is time. This is what the new economy is doing for everyone. It's saving everyone time. That's what it's doing. It's speeding up the process from going, from like how it used to be, a very manual and very tedious process for someone to get to a destination, right? But now with the new economy, like they don't even need to take certain steps. They can just go straight to it and save themselves time. They can, you can create, you can set up e-learning, for example, like what Dana was mentioning, like a membership site with videos and exercises that people can take at their own leisure. And they could even speed it up. They can listen to it 2 times the speed if they wanted to. The same thing goes for apps. It's all about saving yourself time and saving everyone time, your customers and you. All right. So great job. Great answers, everyone. Thank you. I wish we can get some more, but I want to just wrap that part up. So just make sure that this is in your notebook. Okay. You guys ready? I'm going to clear this all up. I'm going to delete this. All right. Now to follow up with that, and I appreciate everyone here following through. I see Mike just listening, and I know Mike has a lot to say. I appreciate you just holding yourself into that, because I just know that Mike, you love talking a lot about all this good stuff. There's so much good stuff that can be shared. But let's stay on schedule here. I want to make sure you guys walk away with a good exercise before we get into the interviews, or more into the interviews, I mean. Has this been helpful for you guys so far? I just want to check. You guys are enjoying this? Can I get some feedback? Yes? Is it good? Okay, cool. All right. Here is the formula for the question that we just asked. Actually, let me just get the question too. So this is going to be kind of part of your homework, assuming that you're going to be here next week. All right. So have you adapted to the new economy and growing your business? Now, here is a little bit of a blueprint. It doesn't have to be exactly like just kind of an outline. This is kind of what I was doing, what I was saying when I introduced myself and how I'm adapting to it. So the first line is about, so for the last X amount of years, and I'm just saying years just in general as an idea, I have been whatever, or I did this. Just kind of introduce what you have been before, okay? Your previous profession, how Carl, you were a former, you were a CFO in the financial world, and, I've helped, a lot of people build their business, et cetera, for the last 10 years. So I was a internet marketing consultant, and that gave me a lot of credibility before I even mentioned anything else, right? So it's really important to mention this at the very beginning. Anyone want to tell me why? Just real quick, you just unmute yourself. Why would it be important to mention your credibility or what you've done before in the past before you even say anything? Anyone want to speak up, give a guess, educated guess?
Gets people's attention, right? And we're so distracted with time, right? So right there, they hear that credibility comes through, and now they might pay attention.
Great, exactly. All right, so it's all about credibility. It's really important. All right, and that's supposed to be number one. So thank you, Adam. That's great. It's a great answer. So in case you guys didn't get that, it's super important. They need to know like what you have done and what's the connection with what you've done before with what you're doing right now in order to establish the credibility and in order for us to even say, yeah, this is something I want to hear. This is a person I want to learn from, okay? So extremely important. That goes first. And that goes for no matter what we ask you, you want to mention that, okay? But don't worry about that. That's just a side note. Just put that on the side. All you need to know is you always want to mention your credibility at the very beginning, okay? Now, the next thing is I've helped XYZ accomplish XYZ. That's also part of your credibility. So some of you might not be able to say something for amount of years or whatever else. Just you need to have something in there that makes you credible. So it could be the amount of people you've helped, or it could just be you've only helped one person accomplish something really amazing, whatever it is, okay? So ideally, this section here is all about your credibility, and it's all about things that you've accomplished that makes you interesting to learn from, or someone that is unique and someone that has something that is interesting for me to hear more about, okay? So does that make sense? I mean, I want to make sure you guys understand this. So you guys just nod your head if it does, or raise your hand. It's up to you. Okay. Good. I appreciate the feedback. All right. Now, the new economy has caused XYZ. What do you think goes here? You guys want to speak up? What do you think? The new economy has caused
changes.
Good. Yeah, exactly. So what kind of changes? That's what you're going to fill in here. So it's caused this industry to do that, or to become whatever it is. So with my example, it was that with all these different tools, it's become a lot of competition. It's been really tough to compete with all these different tools out there and coaches out there and whatever else who do the same thing that I do. Okay. In other words, this is kind of a problem. Okay. So a problem. And how, like, what does it change, and I would ideally want this to be a problem, okay? All right, then, and because of that, people in my industry are struggling with, so, this thing has happened, and now people in my industry are struggling with what, Just write that down, fill it, have it on your notepad so you have it ready, for yourself to fill in the blank later. And now I am doing this, or I am now I have created this new business, or now I'm writing this book, or now I see my clients face to face on Zoom, no matter where they are in the world, so whatever it is, what is the change, and this is pretty much the answer to this question, So is everyone getting this?
Yes.
And this might seem really simple, and it is, but believe it or not, like, a lot of people struggle with this and don't even realize that they're totally shooting themselves in the foot when they don't mention any part of this, any component here. If it's missing, the message is just not going to be powerful enough. It's not going to be interesting and memorable, all right? And people are not even going to want to hear more about whatever you do, and they're not going to see the connection between what you did in the past and what you're doing now, okay? So you need to mention this all the time and make sure you have this written down. So what you're going to do as homework is fill in the blanks here on your notepad, and of course, it doesn't have to be exactly like this word for word, as long as it has the components that we need. It's the credibility, what you did in the past before the new economy, and then now that the new economy has started to make some changes, like what has it caused, what kind of problems has it caused for your industry? Okay. And then, of course, how are they struggling? How are people struggling from this? And what is the solution that you're doing now? What is your ultimate solution that you're working on right now? Okay. So, does anyone have any questions about this assignment here? And I know some of you here are just like trying to listen in and didn't think you were going to do homework, but I want to make sure you get the best out of this. All right. So if you're on board, if you're going to join us next week and you want to, get the best chance to be on the radio show, be, a leader in your industry, definitely you need to know this information. So does anyone have any questions? Just please raise your hand or speak up if you do. Checking around. Okay, cool. And I'm going to mute people here because it's like some background noise going on. All right. So let me check what's next on here. Now, there are some other cool things we have in store for you next week and the week following. Just stay tuned. That's all I can say. This is the very beginning. This is the very foundation of what it takes to articulate your message. And so, and one more note, I want to make sure everyone knows this. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. This is scheduled for a 90-minute call. So I want to make sure you guys know we're going to end at 6:30, which is 9:30 Eastern. If you didn't know that, sorry, you're going to miss out on one of the best parts here. We're going to get into some interview practice right now. And with that, just keep in mind everything that we just mentioned here. We're going to start interviewing you and just kind of see how you present yourself and how you share what you do. And we're going to give you some feedback so that, you can help yourself improve on your message and how you articulate yourself, right? So as long as everyone's cool with that, all right, we're going to just go ahead and I'm going to let Mike, I'm going to unmute Mike because I know Mike is here for that. So Mike is the real expert, as I mentioned before. He's the guy who's interviewed countless entrepreneurs and helped thousands of entrepreneurs and inventors with their pitch and get them to make hundreds of millions of dollars on infomercial TV and mainstream media as well. So here we are going to start interviewing people, and let me see. I want to pick on Melody because I know that you love this program and you are really excited about this, right? So are you cool with getting interviewed a little bit? All right, cool. So, all right, well, Melody, first off, before we start the interview, and this is what's going to happen for everyone, we want to know a little bit about you, a little background, so at least everyone can kind of hear what you do. So, Melody, just real quick, in general, what is it that you do? Just let us know.
Yeah, so I am a real estate agent, own my own real estate firm, and I'm in the process of launching a real estate school. In fact, I was just finishing up the curriculum to send into the Department of Licensing today. Prior to that, I worked in human resources for a decade, and what my specialty was to help streamline processes within an organization. And I'm taking that into real estate and helping new agents more or less with a formula. They have to do a lot of deep work to identify their business strategies, but a lot of them struggle with that. And I help them to get there in the quickest way possible with the most effective way possible.
Awesome. All right. You've already kind of answered some of these questions, so that's great. Did I hear you right where you're saying that you're actually going to have a real estate training, like an education program? Is that
yeah,
did I hear that?
Yeah, agents will have the ability to take a class to learn how to build their real estate business and get continuing education renewal credits for that. So agents have to renew their license every couple of years and have to show that they have taken so much education. So they will actually be able to apply that to their education. So awesome. It's a win-win.
Awesome. All right, cool. So Mike, I know you're there taking notes. Do you want to do the honors of interviewing Melody?
Yeah. Hi, Melody. How are you? I'm Mike.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on a sec. Before you start, I want to let everyone know, just a heads up, just FYI, because some people have asked this. We're interviewing you, and we're just going to be practicing right now, but some of the footage might actually make it to the show. But really, what we're doing is all practice, and it's all for coaching and mentoring to help you, with your message. And at the end, if we really, we think you're ready, then we will have a schedule call one-on-one where we will interview you officially, and that is what will be edited and then put onto the show. So it's not live, and I just want to make sure everyone knows that. You can just freely practice, okay? Cool. So, all right, go ahead.
Okay. So I think there's a few things to help everybody to understand the groundwork with which I do interviews. Even though my background was with NBC News in New York, I spent 20 years in the TV infomercial industry helping my clients and entrepreneurs communicate their message. My rule is I never interview anybody unless I think it will do them some good, period. So I want you guys to know I am always on your side. I'm never going to ask you a question to try and trip you up. It's us together, okay? I'm helping guide you and steer you and really help in any way. So I'm a big believer in getting out of the way as much as I can. You guys have worked hard, and you know what your specialty is, and we're dealing with a whole economy here. And so I wouldn't pretend, to disrespect anybody here that I know more than them about their area. So really what I want to do, my attitude is, you have some great things in your mind that people don't know about, some great experiences and ideas and things like that. Really what I want to do is I want to help you to pull those out of your head and help you to articulate them and put them into a digital format so that other people can learn about them. In the direct response industry, it was kind of like this. Tap somebody on the shoulder. Hey, did you know about this? Did you know there's a new real estate school that you can learn? People don't know stuff. So just telling them that, and making them aware of something gives them the opportunity to make a choice. And then if it's clear, then they can decide, yeah, this sounds great and melody sounds really nice. So, think of it, and I'm kind of setting the stage here. Think of it like this. I am kind of like your attorney that you hired to help you make your case to the jury. The jury is the jury of public opinion, okay? And so I like to assure you that no matter what your challenge is, if you will let me ask you about it with questions that you want me to ask you, you're going to be more comfortable by answering those objections before they even come up in the mind of the consumer. Like Tony Robbins says, kill the objection while it's a midget so it doesn't grow up to become a giant and kill you or your sale, okay? So, sometimes it's just, well, what about this or what about that? So when I ask you, then, I let you, because I'm a marketer, guys, okay? So I let you convince me that, okay, wow, that's a great answer. I could see why somebody would want to do that. So the main thing is to understand that, I'm your advocate. I'm here to help you, okay? So, and it's practice. So why don't we start simply? I don't want to reinvent the wheel for anybody. I really want to ask you simple questions, just as simple as, hey, think of it as a trade show. Imagine that this interview was like a trade show booth. You're at a trade show, you have a booth, and you got your sign up, you're standing there waiting for somebody to come by. Somebody comes by and says, oh, this is an interesting melody. What do you do? And then you tell them what they do, okay? That's kind of my attitude about interviews. Is like, this is a virtual trade show, and I know because I ran a virtual trade show for 15 years, so I know how to do it. So what I want to do is, it's just as simple as, well, what do you do? Wow. And how does that fit into the new economy? Amazing. That's great. If you say something interesting, I'll comment on, or something that's confusing, I'll try and pull it out of you if it helps. But again, this is practice, guys. So, it's like opening off Broadway. You can't be bad. You can just get better. You never fail unless you fail to learn. So, and then at the end, I'll go, gosh, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they do it? Now, you're also teaching us how you work. Well, do you offer a free consultation, or, do they, what's the best way to get a hold of you? So we really just got to get information. This is digital. This is a digital networking group. And that's why I think it's vital that we all share and swap ideas, so that we can overcome these challenges that we are all facing in the new economy. So that the overview for everybody. Now let's talk to you, Melody.
Okay. Now, real quick, before we begin, one more thing I want to ask for Melody and everyone else who gets interviewed. Keep all this stuff in mind, what we just discussed. When Mike asks you, what do you do? Do your best to try to implement what you just learned about your past, what brought you to where you are right now, and the new economy, how it's changed, how it's caused this problem that has led you to what you're doing now. All right? Just do your best, okay? I just want to, push you to do that, okay? Cool. Okay, Mike, you can go ahead.
Okay, we're back now, and this time we are talking with Melody Chambers. Melody, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Now, okay, let me kind of, a little coaching here as we're going. That was perfect. A lot of people try and jump right into their story, but first a little welcome, a little hi, just real quick. That was perfect, Melody. So thank you for that. So we'll do that one more time. Okay, we're back because we're doing a series. So this would be like maybe after a commercial or something. So, okay, we're back now. This time we have Melody Chambers, who's working in the new economy. Melody, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Melody, you've got a unique concept that has to do with real estate now. The new economy is changing everything. How's it changing real estate? And how are you involved in the real estate industry these days?
Well, I think this is a common issue everywhere, but in the new economy, there's so much information that anymore people are really having a hard time finding the good information, and they're overwhelmed. So they're looking for people to kind of guide them through the shortcut. Because with all the information that's available, it ends up being, it should be a time saver, but it ends up a lot of times being a big time suck for a lot of people. So the other issue that I notice in the new economy is that most of the trainings that are available tend to be guru-style trainings. I don't know if any of the listeners have attended a guru-style training, then that tends to be a training where you have a superstar at the front of the stage. They have their 5 or 10 steps that they're going to teach you so that you'll become a millionaire just like they did, or achieve the level of success that they had. And it's kind of like wearing somebody else's custom tailored jacket. That jacket might look and fit them perfectly, but it might not actually fit you at all. So trying to actually create your own business strategy is challenging, and in an efficient way is challenging. So that's what my business endeavors to do, is to help people do that deep dive, figure out what it is about themselves that is important to them and that they have to offer to help them to differentiate themselves from everyone else in the economy and enjoy themselves more while doing it.
Now, this is a little bit like a radio reality show, so let me give a little coaching aside here. The best interview that I ever had in my life was by a guy named Ron Owens on KGO Radio, the ABC affiliate here in San Francisco. And while I was being interviewed, he kept kind of making faces at me, and I didn't know what was going on. But then I realized later, when I got home, all my friends said, man, you were brilliant in that interview. I didn't realize he was so generously guiding me through the interview with his face. He's on the radio. He could have embarrassed me or something else, but he used his face and his body language to guide me to bring out the best me. So since we're on radio, ultimately that's where the interviews are going to go. If I'm guiding you with my face, it's trying to bring out the best you, okay? So just so everybody kind of knows that. Okay, so let's get back into what this is really, it's role playing, guys. Okay, great. Okay, now Melody, this is about the new economy, Chamber of Commerce, and new money in the new economy. So one of the things that has been dramatically changed in the real estate industry is Airbnb. The platform has stepped in, and frankly, my family just flipped a house in Berkeley, California. And because of Airbnb, I thought, well, gee, if we add a second unit downstairs, it's only 2 miles from University of California at Berkeley. That's going to dramatically increase the value of that house. So to me, that's part of really understanding all the aspects of, even a very well-established industry like real estate, but how it too has been altered by the new economy. So what are some of the observations you've had about how real estate has changed in this new economy?
Well, that's a great question, and I really like your example about the Airbnb and the vacation rentals by owner, because what that has done in the new economy is it's really helped people that are average homeowners think like investors. Maybe they can help pay for their home with some rental income. The interesting thing is you would think on the flip side that because people have so much more access to technology, that there would also be more for sale by owners on the market. And that's been a really interesting trend that has gone the opposite way that we expected. For sale by owners have consistently taken up 12% of the overall market. And with all the technology, we've all been expecting that number would just go up as people would list their own homes and sell their own homes. What we're finding is that that has actually gone down by a third. So people are not listed, they're working with agents even more than ever because of the overwhelm. So with Airbnb, you've got systems in place that people can join, everything's taken care of, they can get reviews, they can essentially vet out their people before they rent. And on the flip side, on real estate, they don't want to list their houses on their own because it's so overwhelming and they need somebody to guide them through. Just like I'll be guiding agents through setting up their business, increasingly I'm seeing consumers are needing real estate agents to guide them through the purchase or sale of their own properties.
Now, you intrigued me, Melody, by something you said about kind of the one-size-fits-all, the guru in front. Describe for us the distinction between that approach and how you're going to approach it.
Yeah, that's a great question as well. I consider myself to be what's called a truth guide or a truth leader. A truth guide is somebody who believes fundamentally that you have the answers inside you. A guru believes they have the answers. You just need to do what they tell you to do. And there is a place for gurus. If you find one that's a good fit for you, that can be a great fit for you to model your business against. If you're new into the industry, though, you may not have that knowledge. What are your strengths? What do you enjoy doing? And you might waste time and money by attending guru seminars that are not a fit for you. So I think that this deep dive is extremely important for somebody new in an industry to go through so that they can identify what specialty areas they want to go through. And I also have a high amount of investment in my students being successful, whereas gurus may or may not have that investment. They're more, that style tends to be just do what I say, and then they're more separate from the results, where I'm more interactive with my students. I'm going to be co-creating the material with them.
Well, I can tell you this, just from the clarity of the distinctions that you've given us here about your understanding about education and being a truth guide leader, you've convinced me that you know how to teach, Melody. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way they can reach you?
The best way they can reach me is by my website, which is entrepreneurrealestateschool.com. The disclaimer is that is currently being set up, or they can call me on my cell phone until that website is set up, which is 360-739-6571.
All right, Melody Chambers, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, great job. Let's give her a round of applause.
I thought so. I think you did a real good job.
Thank
you.
I
agree with that, definitely. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that we can improve on, and that's why we're here. So how about we get some feedback? And you might notice some of the notes I made on this here. The orange is just from this interview. I don't know if you see that, you guys. Anyway, I'm going to hear from you guys. I'm going to get some feedback from you first. I'm going to hear what anyone here would like to share, any feedback about, not necessarily anything in particular, just overall, any feedback in general, and with the mind, with keeping everything that we mentioned today in today's lesson in mind. Would you like to share any feedback? Anyone? Becky, go ahead.
She sounds like she knows what she's doing.
Right on.
I don't know anything about real estate, but it sounds like she knows what she's doing. So she's already built that like no one trusts with me. So, but
right
let me comment on what Becky just said. One thing I forgot to mention too, guys. It is so much easier to get information out of you when you are being interviewed. Just the fact by being interviewed by anybody puts you up on a pedestal in the mind of everybody else. And it's a lot easier to brag about yourself blatantly when you're being interviewed because, somebody like me is asking you, so you're forgiven for bragging, right? So that's a key point, and that's kind of a coaching point. I just want to throw it in there on top of that. So thank you.
Right on. Awesome.
I want to add something. Add something that I think good practice for this is just to talk to people about what you're doing. And a range of people, not necessarily people who are doing what you're doing or get it, but people who don't know, because you have to figure out how to relate what it is you're talking about in an elevator pitch that's going to grab them. And you can see, as Mike was talking about, read the face. The more you do it, you get to read faces and you get a sense of what noodles are hanging on the wall and different ways to get to a central point. So no small part of this type of preparation you could do just in every day when you're talking to people.
Right on. Awesome. Now, before I want to just let you know we're approaching, we're getting close to the end of the call. So I want to give one more person the opportunity to speak, and that will be Dana. But just a moment. Dana, do you want to? Just say yes or no if you do. If not, I could choose someone else. But anyway, yes? Do you?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. But not yet. Hold on a sec, all right? So
okay.
I want to provide my little feedback here, and this is something that I want you to pay attention to. The reason I started making these notes here is, and this is going to be constructive feedback. This is to help you, Melody, okay? And this goes for everyone. Again, we all forget about this. It's so natural. We forget about this so easily. Did anyone hear anything about her mentioning stuff about what she did in the past and anything about her credibility in general, like what she's done, how many people she's helped, or how many years she's been in real estate? Just want to check if anyone heard any of that. Okay, so Melody, I don't know if you see everyone, but the response is no, I didn't hear it at all. I was just checking with everyone else to make sure, because I didn't hear, that was the very and most important lesson from today, and I want to make sure everyone gets this, is when someone asks you, what do you do? Just don't jump into, I'm a real estate, whatever, or I am teaching real estate, or whatever it is. Go with what you have done before, what you have, what is your history, and what are you now? Like, that's what you answer. So it adds the credibility automatically. And if you can say how many years you've been doing it, that's great. If you can't, use something else, or how many people you've helped do it, how much success you've had, or, you know, whatever, something that makes you credible. All right. Did you notice, Melody, that you didn't mention any of that?
Well, I did, but I thought, I guess when you were talking to me earlier, I thought that was part of it.
Gotcha.
But I will keep that in mind.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. So thanks for playing along. And Melody, has this feedback been helpful for you?
Yeah, I've never been interviewed before, so this has been great.
Yes, exactly. It's great. So that's the whole power of this program, is when we're interviewing you, you're getting practice and you're actually talking. You're not just listening and taking notes. You're actually growing from this. Okay, that's great. So now, and of course, you know, each week we're going to build on these lessons. There's more lessons to come. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. And we're going to make sure that you are, you know, fully ready for this. So, all right, let's go with Dana. And Dana is an actual member, a paying member. That's why we're choosing her. So thank you again for being here. So want to remind us real quick, what do you do? So Dana, before we start the interview,
okay,
and there's going to be one piece of feedback I forgot to mention also. We didn't really teach this in this call, but one of the things that will make an interview really great is to make your points very crystal clear and just short and sweet. Okay. We all tend to kind of get a little more elaborate a little more into our message when, you know, we're on a spotlight or we're trying to fill quiet space with ums or whatever. Just, you know, answer the question and kind of have some fun, or imagine it being like an actual dialogue you're having with someone at dinner. You know, you're at an event or something. You meet someone, you have some lunch, and you're just talking. You're just asking and answering questions. That's what this is. So you don't try to make it all fancy and try to, you know, add in all these magical things or try to mention everything. You know, as long as you mention this, that's all you really need to have. This is the solid information that we need for this interview to be awesome. Okay. Now, of course, again, in the future weeks, we're going to be helping you and giving you more exercises to help you shorten your message and make it more concrete and more impactful. That is to come. But for now, I just wanted to mention that so you guys know. Just keep it loose, keep it simple, and you know, short and sweet. You know. So let's see here. Let me see. Where is Mike?
Oh, I'm back. Sorry about that. A quick way, guys. Just do a screenshot of these questions and you know, short and sweet.
So, all right. Dana. All right. So just to remind everyone what Dana does, she is a business growth strategist, and she helps startups. And I'm trying to remember the exact thing, but you know, she in a nutshell, she helps entrepreneurs get from from one point to another with her expertise in business growth. All right. So let's get into it. Ready, you guys?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I dropped out for a second, so I may be totally out of it here. Okay, so now I'm interviewing Dana?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Very good. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Let me get squared away here 1 second, Dana. Okay. Dana Oliva, yes? Is that the proper?
Olivo.
Olivo. Sorry about that. Okay, good. All right, great. We're back again, this time with Dana Olivo. And Dana, you have an expertise that I think is very vital to the new economy. So tell us how you are helping people who maybe want to transition into the new economy.
Oh, definitely, Mike. I really appreciate being on the show with you. As a business growth strategist, I've been doing this for close to 40 years. I started out in the architectural engineering construction market, but 2009, the economy hit. the recession hit. And so I had to reinvent myself. And that's what I've been doing since 2009, is working with new businesses that were also hit by the recession and had to start their businesses because they couldn't find any other work. And as a result, Marketatomy was born.
Now, tell us a little bit about your experience with some of the new money in the new economy. In fact, I don't know, I just saw this story, and I think Carl will also be interested in this, that Russia is really making a play with cryptocurrency to try to replace the dollar over time with cryptocurrency. Talk about making a big play. Have you guys heard anything about that? But anyway, I think these are the kind of stories that the public are hearing about. So you've got some insight into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in the new economy. Dana, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, first of all, let me preface this by saying I am not an expert in cryptocurrency or digital currency. In fact, I'm still learning, but I'm learning because my customers want to know. They're being introduced to this, they're coming to me, and this is part of what I have to do, is I have to become familiar with it so that I can speak to them and teach them the right way of getting involved in this digital market here. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of stories that are going around out in the ether as far as digital currency and the value of our American dollar, which is just, it's just paper when you think about it. And we have to keep that in mind. Digital currency has been around for years. It is not anything that's new. Your credit cards, your bank statements, everything is all digital currency. The difference is right now you're able to basically invest or convert into Bitcoin, just small amounts of coin, and use that for investment purposes, to buy products, to buy services. And what this is going to do, I think, as we move forward, is we're going to see as more and more companies start getting involved in the digital currency market, they've got customers that are going to want to pay with digital currency. And so if you don't set yourself up so that you can take that digital currency, you might be missing out on a large part of the market.
Let me give you a quick story that I think can help bring clarity into what you just said, but also into the New Economy Chamber of Commerce. Now, I am a member of several chambers of commerce. I believe in the fusion of traditional person-to-person, face-to-face networking in whatever local group, BNI group, meetup group, chamber of commerce, whatever, with the new digital networking groups to have kind of the best of both worlds. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce that I belong to, they do take Bitcoin for membership. So that's a great example of kind of the best of, the traditional and the new, because I really think that's where a big part of the opportunities are in the new economy, not abandoning the past, but really improving the future. Because it's not just about e-commerce. This is about the tipping point of e-commerce, like the organization of some of the new platforms. So let me ask you this. How do you network locally, right in your hometown? Do you belong to a chamber of commerce? Do you belong to any local groups? How do you network face-to-face right now?
Oh, wow. I like to consider myself the networking queen around here. I'm involved in two major organizations. One is the CEO Clubs of America, and the other one is the CEO Space, CEO Space International. Okay, both of those are networking groups that network at a very high sphere of influence. Okay, but at the same time, I am out there networking on a regular basis with 1 Million Cups that I go every single Wednesday morning. That's a Kauffman Foundation sponsored event. That's where I meet up with new entrepreneurs. That's That's a lead generation networking. There's different types of networking that you do. One is for lead, one is for education. Another one might be for, increasing your sphere. I'm also part of NABO. Another one is Women's Prosperity Network. So yes, I fully agree that face-to-face networking is extremely important, but also the educational components that they bring with these organizations.
Let me make a comment and then get your comment on my thinking, okay? Mm-hmm. I attend many where they'll give you literally 30 seconds, okay? And to make a little elevator pitch. And what I'm stunned by is I see people making the same elevator pitch to the same people over and over again. What's the definition of insanity? Keep doing the same thing and think you'll get a different result, right?
Right.
So the opportunity here is to extend that networking, get their card, meet them. Now, is somebody more or less likely to respond to an email or an outreach if you have met them face to face?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And a lot of my networking do result in at least one or two emails, introduction. We sit down to lunch or we sit down to breakfast or something like that. You always want to extend it past the networking event. The other thing I tell my customers is when you go to a networking event, it is not a race to collect cards, because if you're doing this right, you're going to be there every single week or every month or depending on how often it is. So you're selective. You decide before you go, who do you want to see and who do you want to talk to? Because otherwise you're going to end up what I call sales fatigue.
Let me add an update on my thinking about business cards because I have I've evolved to a new attitude about business cards. Most of us, lie. Oh yeah, thanks for the card. I'll call you. Never do, right? We don't want to make liars of each other. So basically what I do is I take their business card, I go home and I input the data, and then, hey, it was great meeting you today, because now I know I've got more traction at the grassroots level. The hardest thing, so many, like Melody was talking about the gurus, they teach these kind of all or nothing approaches, that you can be wildly successful or nothing. And I don't think that you can start any business in fifth gear. You kids who don't understand driving with a stick transition may not understand that. But, when you start in first gear, get traction, test, observe, adjust, expand. So you can reach out and actually test through people that will take your email. So I think the fusion of traditional networking with new media and new networking groups, I really believe that's going to be a core part of the future.
Well, and you're absolutely right, Mike. And what I've also found in the networking that I'm doing, what people struggle with is in the networking environment is they don't know how to connect. All right. They don't know how to connect with these people. Like you said, they're spilling and spitting out their information. I'm so-and-so, my elevator pitch. Okay. What I find is that when I reach out to people that I've met, I'm not trying to sell. I'm a firm believer. Don't try and sell. What you're trying to do is create that relationship. So you sit down for coffee or breakfast so that you can get to know them a little bit better. And by then you'll know whether there's any kind of synergy there that you can work together.
I want to respect everybody's time here, Dana. So let's get back to Omar. But before we do, let me ask you, because we're still networking here with each other too. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you?
They can reach me either through my website, which is Marketatomy, MarketAtomy.com, or you can reach me on my cell phone, which is 407-405-6410.
Dana Olivo, thanks for joining us. Now let's get back to Omar. Omar.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. All right. That's great. All right. So, how do you feel about that, Dana? Did it help you by kind of sharing that and kind of how did you feel overall? Did you feel confident in yourself? Do you feel like you?
I felt confident. The fact that the questions were asked helps definitely steering. It went in a different direction than I thought it was going to.
It's just practice. It's just practice.
Yeah, exactly. But by the back and forth with the questions and everything, it makes it so much easier. That's how that radio show I did earlier today did, and it was so much better. So
right on,
yeah,
awesome.
I agree.
And keep in mind, you guys, before we do the interview, we're gonna have an application of what form filled out of what you do, all the things about your business, what you want to talk about, and if you have any questions that you want us to ask you, we'll have that already. So again, this is all practice, and we're just being very general just to practice how you speak. So just my own feedback now, just to wrap it up kind of quickly, because I know we're a little over time. I appreciate you guys being here, sticking around. My feedback is what I mentioned earlier. We really want to make it even shorter than what you mentioned, how you did this interview, Dana. If we're going to work on that, so we're going to work on helping you summarize everything you just shared in a, one sentence or two sentences, like per answer, if that makes sense. So it's not like a whole story or like a whole, like, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds to a minute of nonstop talking. We want to have it dialogue within, like, let's say the 2-minute segment that you would be on the show. We want to have the space to be able to ask, at least like 5 questions, probably more. If you break that down, that's very small amount of time. That's, seconds that you have to answer the questions. So anyway, that's the main feedback. So we're going to work on making it more concise. And the other thing is this part wasn't really, it wasn't really connecting for me and my own, from my listening. I didn't hear you mention anything about like what you did. I know you said what you did, but what you were able to accomplish, like what was the success, or what was the thing that makes you credible? So you've helped X amount of people accomplish X, Y, Z. You were, I know you used to work in the corporate America world, and you did something in that. So mention that, So what did you do before? And then because of the new economy, you mentioned some things, which is good. You did mention the new economy, the economic collapse, and then but you did not mention this. You did not mention how people are struggling. So this is, in other words, this here is the problem, and this here is the symptoms of the problem. Like, what are they? Like, what has the problem caused for people in your industry and the industry in general? Like, how has it disrupted everything? And because of that, now you're doing X, Y, Z. So and all of this has to connect together. I know Mike kind of talked about cryptocurrency, which is not your expertise. But just, in general, next time, make sure that your message, what you have written down, it's all connected. Everything, it goes, like right side by side, like perfect segues to each other. All right. So it all makes sense. It all like adds into it all paints the picture in the person's mind, if that makes sense. So let me see here. And Eileen asked a question, how long of an interview is Mike planning on? So we have 2 different options. There is a VIP program, which is your featured interview. You're like the what is that? Oh man, totally lost the thought. What is it? You're the keynote speaker. That's right, a keynote interviewee. The show is all about you, and we're promoting you throughout the whole show. We're saying, make sure you guys are staying tuned for for Melody Chambers coming on. She's going to be talking about XYZ, and we're constantly promoting you throughout the show. And then that ends up being a 10-minute interview. Okay. But that 10 minutes could come from 30 minutes of footage. It's going to be edited. All right. So keep that in mind. And then the other package, that's the VIP. The other package is the Pro, the very basic program, which is you get to come on these calls and you're guaranteed a spot on the show. That's going to be a 2-minute segment. Okay. So the 2-minute segment, it's an interview. That again, that can be coming from like 10 minutes or 20 minutes of footage that we edit and produce, put on the show. It might even have to be sped up. We might speed it up to make it fit in that 2-minute segment, right? There's a lot of little like Hollywood tricks we can do, to make it work. So again, there's the basic program, which is 2 minutes guaranteed on the show. You're guaranteed to be on there. And the VIP, which is 10 minutes, which you get to elaborate a lot more, and you get promoted throughout the whole show. All right. So, just decide
to mention that they reach the status of being as featured on NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox for any promotion, book promotion, LinkedIn promotion, LinkedIn profile. There's many, many ways and we're going to be teaching all the different ways, including your email signature. There's so many ways to use it.
Right on. Awesome. And Melody just said she signed up. Thank you. Awesome. Congratulations. And so again, the whole point is to promote you and get you into the big leagues. I'm going to just this in here because some of you don't even know the link, where to go, and what this program is. So I appreciate all of you being in here. Oops. The link, by the way, it's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you guys can even see it on here, but so it's infopreneuragency.com/media mentor.
Can you put it in the chat box?
Yeah, I'm going to do it and do that right now. So
there it is.
If you guys want to sign up, this is going to continue to go up. So the link is in the chat box, you guys. Do you guys see it? Do you guys see it in the chat box? I want to make sure. Do you guys see it? Okay, cool. So this is just it. I want to show you. It's 90 days to transform you into an industry leader and gain credibility in your profession. So some of the things we're going to do, like today, we're going to build on what we just covered today. And every week it's going to be a new assignment, a new exercise, and more practice. So some of the things you're going to get from this is you're going to improve your interview skills and your speaking skills, help you articulate your message as a go-to industry leader in the mainstream media. You're going to learn what points about you, what talking points about you and your story and your brand are really solid gold sound bites that you must use. Every ones you got to leave out completely that might actually do you more harm than help. And also how to leverage the authority from this interview to get booked on more shows and more stations, get more opportunities. We're going to show you how to create your press kit with this interview, have all the big media logos in there, and use that to leverage it to get on more shows. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I know you guys learned a lot of stuff and you had to do some homework or some work, but it was fun, right? I want to just hear from you guys, right? Was it? Yes? Okay, cool. Great. So it's going to be like this. We're going to keep building onto it. And then again, we're going to interview you for the show. If you sign up for this, you're going to be guaranteed an interview and guaranteed a spot on the air. And it's produced through 170 stations worldwide, including the big ones, the big networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and possibly even CNN. I know we're also doing iHeartRadio, SiriusXM Radio, all the big places you hear, you know about radio. You're going to be on those shows, right? Most likely, okay? So again, if you want the full list, you can just go to sportsbyline.com/affiliates or click on affiliates, and you'll see it's just an insane amount of stations. So with that said, thank you all. Thank you again for being here for the extra time, and I really, really appreciate every single one of you. Make sure if you're here as a guest, sign up at infopreneuragency.com/media mentor. All right, to get the full on program. All right, guys, thank you again. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. See you next week. Have a good one.
Thanks, all. Good job, Omar. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. And by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Hopefully you know how to contact us. You can email us, or if we're friends on Facebook, message us on Facebook. Totally up to you. All right, so we're ending the call now. Thanks again, you guys. Have a good one.
Okay, now I got to stop the recording. Yep.